Hey mamas, you're listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast, the only podcast teaching you how to balance your work, motherhood, and wellness. I am Dr. Amber Thornton, clinical psychologist and mama wellness consultant. Each week we dive into tips and strategies and much more so that you too can become a balanced working mama. Let's dive in. Hey mamas. It's another episode of the Balanced Working Mama podcast. So, how's everybody doing? There's a ton that I want to check in with you all about. I wrote a whole little list before I clicked record because there's a lot that I want to make sure to hit in this check-in. So let's just jump right in. So first of all, if you're listening to this in the week that it comes out, it's Thanksgiving holiday. So for those of you who are planning to celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope that you remain safe, but that you have some really good food, enjoy some family, whether it's virtual or masked up, however you do it. I just want everybody to stay safe. So hopefully you all have a good holiday. And really enjoy that. Otherwise, let's see. We're going to keep it real chill around here for this week. It's just going to be the three of us, me, my son, and my husband. We're not going to celebrate with family this year. We just really want to make sure everyone stays safe. One, because our family's a little bit older. There's health problems, but then also I am pregnant. And so we just don't want to take any risk. Which is quite all right. So we will be enjoying the holidays. We will be video chatting probably the whole day on Thursday. But that's how we got to do it in 2020, and that is okay. Otherwise, let's see. So let me just go down the list of things that I want to tell y'all about. So if you are on my email list, you probably have been hinted to this because I said that there's going to be a surprise coming on Monday, November 23rd. And so there is a surprise. And so as you're listening to this, I want you to head over to balanceworkingmama.com. When you're there, you will see that there is a pop-up merchandise sale going on between November 23rd and November 30th. I'm going to say it one more time. There is a pop-up merchandise sale. Yes, Balance Working Mama merchandise for sale on the website right now between the dates of November 23rd and November 30th. This is the first time I've ever had merch for sale. If some of you probably have seen some of the mamas have some Balance Working Mama shirts, and those are strictly for my Empower Wellness mamas. And so when you participate in an Empower Wellness program, you'll get a specialty shirt just for participating. But I created some new merch for you all who just want to have some, even if you haven't participated in Empower Wellness. So that is up, and I'm so excited about it. I've been showing off the hoodie a little bit because I got it for my birthday, and that's definitely one of the items that's for sale. So definitely head over to balanceworkingmama.com. You will see where you can click shop now and check out all the good stuff that we've got. Shop will close November 30th, and then we'll work on shipping everything out. So I hope that y'all enjoy that merchandise. Buy something nice for yourself, but then also get something for your mama friend too. All right. Okay. Woo, that's exciting. I'm excited for this. We'll see how often we sell merch in the future, but it's 2020 and we trying things. So I wanted to put that out there, but also a lot of you have asked me how you can get a shirt, how you can get some Balanced Working Mama merch, and this is how you do it. So enjoy that. Second thing I want to talk to you about. For those of you who are mental health professionals, I have a webinar called Moving Beyond the Therapy Office. It is going to be held December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but the only thing is that you have to register by Friday, November 27th. This is for mental health professionals who are interested in building a brand that can help to support their growing business. So we will talk about a bunch of things in this webinar, but specifically about how to shift your mindset mindset from service provider to CEO, how to really target your niche and really decide what is your niche, what is your specialty, who's your audience, but then also really how to declare and present a message so that people can hear you and know what you offer. But then also, lastly, how to use things like social media and podcasting and all these other cool things to grow your business and your brand. I'm doing this, and again, this was another cool thing I just decided to try because a lot of people who support Balanced Working Mama have also been curious about how they then can go on to support clients and people that they are really passionate about. How do you reach those people? How do you make sure that they understand what you're offering? Things like that. And so that is what this is. So if you are a mental health professional, you're interested in things like that, definitely check it out. You can find that at www.dramberthornton.com. Very last thing I will talk about before we get into today's episode. Empower Wellness is coming up, y'all. So we got some merch. We've got the webinar for the mental health professionals. And then after all of that is done, I am going to be diving heavily into Empower Wellness for the January season. So I just want to give y'all an update because I've been trying to hold off a little bit on really getting ready for this because I felt like I had some time, but we've already got 4 mamas registered for January 2021. 4. And it's not happened that fast before. So I just want to let you all know, if you are interested in participating in the Empower Wellness program for January, you might want to register sooner than later. Okay. So we will begin during the week of January 3rd, right after the new year hits, and we will get going with our 6-week program. Right now, there are 8 open slots left. You can find information about that at balancedworkingmama.com. So many things happening, but they're good things. They're exciting things, and I feel really good. So let's just dive into this episode, y'all. So today's episode is another really good one. We have a guest, my girl Ashley, and she's going to talk about Bonus Motherhood. Ashley was a participant in the Empower Wellness program, our very first cycle in July, and she has learned a lot from that experience, but we also learned so much from her. I personally was really grateful to talk with her because I learned a lot about how I can better support bonus mamas. And I'm so grateful that bonus mamas have been active in Empower Wellness program. We had Ashley in July. We had another bonus mama just graduate in the recent cycle. And we also will have another bonus mama in January. So bonus mamas are out here. We want to know how to support them and how to be there for them. And this is exactly what Ashley's going to talk about today. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode, and let's get into it. Hey mama, I want to quickly tell you about the Empower Wellness program. This is a dynamic 6-week group for working mothers who are tired of feeling overwhelmed, fatigued, burdened by mom guilt, but then also just not having enough time for themselves. This program takes all of that and transforms it into more wellness, more time for yourself, better priorities, community with other mothers, but then overall balance in your work, motherhood, and wellness. To learn more about the Empower Wellness program, head over to balancedworkingmama.com. There you can find when the next program begins, what to expect, but then also how to sign up. Hope to see you in the next group. All right, mama. So we have another very, very, very special guest with us today. I'm so excited to have her. We have Ashley today joining us. So Ashley, say hello, please.
Hi, everyone.
So Ashley is going to talk with us a little bit about bonus motherhood today. And so Ashley, I want to share with the podcast listeners, but also I know I talked with you about this. The reason why I wanted to have you on is, one, because you were such a great part of the Empower Wellness program. Like, I'm so glad that you agreed to participate in July. You know, Ashley was one of the first 12 mamas to participate in the Empower Wellness program. She was such a great fit and such a good support to the other mamas as well. But Ashley's experience was unique because you are a bonus mom. And so It hit me because I also had another bonus mom participate in my August wellness workshop. And I now have another bonus mama in Empower Wellness now for October. And so, one, I'm really, really happy that Balanced Working Mama feels inclusive, where bonus mamas feel like there's a space for them to come and to be a part of the amazing things that we're doing. But I also want to be able to speak to those experiences a little bit more. And I felt like, Ashley, you were the perfect person to do this with me. So, if you would, before we get started, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what we need to know. Who are you, and tell us more.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so very much for thinking of me. It was such a great move for me to be able to be a part of the Balance Empowerment group. And it helped me out. So I am, like you said, I am a bonus mama. I recently became engaged in July, and my fiance has, thank you, my fiance has a 9-year-old. We have a 9-year-old, but I was not a mother prior to that. And so I really started to foray into this motherhood thing when the pandemic hit. That's when it really became real, like, okay, I really started to be integrated in a much deeper way into our son's life. And so it was really an exciting time, but also a very scary time, because for all of the years that I've wanted to be a mother, it didn't come the traditional way, and I didn't feel like I really was prepared to be able to do that. But just to stay on topic, I am currently a doctoral student. I work for the federal government. I am the creator of Mastering Mind Matters, which is a mental health brand. And, I just love helping people get the most out of life and be whole. So those are the things that I would say that are very important to me and about me.
Nice. Thank you for all of that. And I know at the end we'll talk about where people can find you, because you definitely stay busy and you do a lot of amazing things. So I'm excited about that, for people to reach out to you later on. But I know you said that you were going to try to stay on topic, but actually what you were going to go into is the very next thing I was going to ask you is, tell us a little bit more about your motherhood journey so far. And so I guess what I would love to hear is, what has it been like for you thus far? I know that you said you have recently been engaged, and I know you and I kind of talked about the fact that, so I remember, I'm just going to say, like, I remember when you and I were first talking about Empower Wellness and getting you in the group. I know at first you were hesitant because you were just like, I'm not sure if, it's okay. There's probably other mamas that really deserve it. And I was like, girl, no, this is for you too. And so, I was thinking about you, and I remember us having conversations about how, yes, your son is 9, but this is still a new motherhood experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so how unique that is to be a new mom, but to a 9-year-old. That's not something that a lot of us can say that we have that experience. And I think, again, that's something that's so unique to many bonus mamas. But I would love for you to just describe how your journey has been so far, from start to where you are now.
Sure. Yeah, I distinctly remember that conversation, and I remember saying, well, maybe it's, in my head, I was saying real mamas, and you were like, girl, you're a mom. It's fine. And yeah, you nicely got me together, which a lot of us who participated came to know about you. You'll do it in the nicest way, but you'll get us together. But my motherhood journey, like I said, my fiance and I started dating last year. I don't believe in jumping headfirst into people's children's lives, because that can be complicated if the relationship doesn't work out. This is not the first person I dated who had a child, but as time kind of moved on and we started to notice that we were getting more and more serious, it was natural for me to be integrated. Plus, I was in a situation where my fiance, he is the primary custodial parent. And so it was kind of impossible not to be in Romel's life on some level, but we had kind of been able to navigate it in a way where it wasn't too much. And then the pandemic hit, and everything moved from in person to at home. And we had to quickly kind of figure out how we were going to do this. And so it went from oh, hey, it's Miss Ashley, let's do something fun, to, oh, I'm seeing Miss Ashley every day. It's a little different.
Yep.
And so then after we became engaged, and I'm like, oh man, this is real. I'm about to be someone's mom. It's an exciting experience, but like I said, unlike a lot of my friends, I didn't really feel like I had the preparation where, if you find out you're pregnant, you got 9 months to kind of get yourself together and, really figure out how you want to be. It all of a sudden was just like, boom, you're in it. You're this child's mother. He had 9 years of life before you came into his life. And so you have to acknowledge that there was a norm that was set before you. Then thankfully my fiance, he's so supportive and so no, you're his parent too. He incorporates me in everything. So I didn't have a lot of the barriers or issues that some other people might have had in their bonus motherhood, and I'm grateful for that. I think for me, it was a lot of just like getting out of my own way, recognizing that, I didn't want to do any harm to this child. I don't want to do any harm to this child. So, perfectionism be kicking my butt sometimes. And you and I talked about it quite a bit when I was in the group, because it was just like, it was at one point the same month that we got engaged, and I was just like really trying to take in all the great transitions that were happening. And people forget that transitions, even great transitions, can bring about this stress. And I was just like so stressed out because I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm crying to my fiance, and he's like, yo, it's fine. He's like, you're okay. And it was just like every little thing was just had me like, am I really fit for this? And then, a lot of my friends have toddlers and 1-year-olds. Is like a group of my friends got married at the same time, and then they got pregnant at the same time. So they naturally have community with people who have children the same age, and so they can talk and get into groups and really discuss things. I didn't feel like I necessarily fit in there because I have a 9-year-old. I'm not breastfeeding anybody. I'm not running behind a toddler. And so my circumstances were pretty unique. And so even with coming into the empowerment group, I didn't know how I would fit in. I didn't know how my experiences would mesh with the other ladies. But thankfully, we had a group that was, really encouraging, I thought. And so no one made me feel like, oh girl, that's nothing. We're over here trying to figure out how to get this 19-month-old to sleep through the night. It was none of that. It was very much just like, we hear you. Like, those are valid, concerns. Those are valid reasons for you to feel apprehension. And so I was really grateful for that, because it kind of helped ground me early on in my bonus motherhood, so that as time went on, I wouldn't have to let those things kind of fester to a point where it just became like a real problem. So, thankfully, like, me and my son, we have a great relationship. And even things as far as like him transitioning from calling me Miss Ashley to now he's calling me Mom Ashley. So, and that was something that he chose to do. And I was very kind of adamant that he would need to do that. Frank's mom was like, he needs to call you something else because, you are his mama. And I'm like, I know that, but I was very, wanting to make sure that this felt as natural as possible for him as well. And so, our mom, Ashley, he calls my dad Daddy Boy, which I think is the most
Oh, that is
hilarious thing
so cute.
ever. And so like all of my father's other grandchildren call him Pop Pop, and then here's Romeo calling him Daddy Boy. So it's like, I mean, it's those things, right, that kind of bring joy into the process a little bit. But I would be not being truthful if I didn't say that it was just hard to get past some of the mental roadblocks that kind of come along with, like, okay, he's not my biological child, and the things that we tell ourselves about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you spoke to all of that so well. And again, that's why I'm so glad that to have you on, because, a lot of the things when you're saying, and I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. But because it's not my experience, it's not something that I might not automatically think about. I think maybe my training as a psychologist helps me a little bit better, but it's good to hear you speak to these experiences. And so the next question I have for you is, what are some of the challenges you've faced, and or what are some of the unique things that you think bonus mamas experience? And when you were talking, two actually came to mind for me, and so I want you to think of some other ones. But the one that came to mind for me is, as being a unique experience that only bonus mamas face, is the fact that you don't really get that transition period. Like, someone who has a biological child, they get that 9 months. And sometimes I don't feel like enough, but either way, it's still a transition period where you're like, okay, I know that this child is coming in 9 months. I have all this time to plan. I have this time to like think about it. I get to get all this stuff together. I get to get my mindset together to like get me into the role of mother. There's a lot of that I think bonus mamas just don't get. A lot of it is you're kind of thrown into it. And like you said, your child might be like 9 years old. And so it's a different experience. But then the other thing that I think is so key, and I think you do such a good job at this, is the fact that not only do you have to navigate and manage your experiences of this, like you said, there is a lot of like anxiety, or I remember you were dealing with perfectionism, or like, just all the mental and emotional stuff that comes with you transitioning into this role as your son's mom. But you also have to manage the fact that this is also new for him. And, I would even argue that that might be the priority, because if we don't manage that, you might find yourself in a place where you're like, you know what, I am mom, so you call me mom. I'm not Miss Ashley no more. And that would be terrible. That
Yes.
would be terrible. And so I just want to commend you. I think you do such a great job of managing both of those, but really prioritizing that for Romel, your son, because I know that that's so key to ensuring that you can establish a healthy relationship with him. You can't have your emotional stuff in the forefront. You got to kind of put that in a place where you can manage it and you can handle it, and your fiance can help support you. But that's not something that your son needs to take on,
Right. Yeah. And I would also add to that, understanding that, when you're coming into even the greatest situations, children have a way, like any humans, of kind of setting certain boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I would say, when I started kind of operating more in the mom role, where I had to redirect, or establish appropriate boundaries, new boundaries, there was a certain kind of pushback that I had to learn not to take so seriously.
Mm.
Romeo is a very respectful child. He's wonderful and he's sweet. But even children who are wonderful and sweet and respectful have ways that they process you when you come in new. So there was a way that I was when it was just Miss Ashley, hey, let's go watch YouTube videos, let's do this, let's hang out, let's chill.
Yep.
And then now that I'm mom, there are some new things. And so at first it was kind of like, well, daddy, isn't this is me in your house, right? So we can like make these decisions. And at first I was just like, oh, excuse me,
Yeah.
but this is where thankfully I have that counseling background. I understood it for what it was.
Mhm.
And a lot of us, you know, it may not look as nice as that, right? Some children will do like the absolute most, but understanding that behavior is communication, and is trying to teach us things. And so he had to get used to me in that new role, just like I had to get used to it. And he had to get used to his new role as my son, and understanding that there's going to be a little bit different of operating, where when I was Miss Ashley and then I'm now Mom Ashley.
Mhm.
I would say another challenge is, you know, for me coming in, like I said, Frank is very, um, he's very supportive. He's very like, come on in, help us get us together. And that sounds all well and good and great, until you kind of become the person who's like reinforcing, like I said, certain boundaries. And for me, it's a delicate balance between understanding what he's been used to before I came in the picture, and being respectful of that while still trying to figure out, ways that we can kind of make some, concessions in certain areas.
Yeah.
So, like, not feeling like I needed to come in and just, all right, everybody, we're just gonna take everything down, take everything out. We're gonna move, because especially when you feel supported in doing so, your natural, inclination is to whatever.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I tell Frank is like, you've been a parent for 9 years. I have not. And
Mhm.
so I'm still learning.
Mhm.
We all have said that there are certain things that we would or would not do as a parent until you become a parent, and you're like,
Girl, yeah.
oh, this is a little bit more complicated than what I thought, So I'm still very much in this is more complicated than what I thought. And
Mhm.
I'm very much into the like randomly texting my parents like, I am so sorry that I had an attitude about whatever in
Mhm.
11th grade. I
Mhm.
apologize. Because I didn't understand what went behind you all making those decisions, because they just look so easy to me.
Exactly.
And so, I feel like you don't really have as much time to really work through that particular part of parenthood.
Mhm.
Um, when you come into like a bonus parenthood, you just kind of have to jump in. I mean, unless you do have children already. But for
Mhm.
those of us who don't have children already and we're coming into this,
Mhm.
learning how to, it's easy to love Romel. Like, he is my child. And thankfully, we don't have to do those, step or bonus, we don't have to play those kind of
Mhm.
word games, thankfully.
Mhm.
But understanding how to love him in the way that is not just appropriate, but that will nurture the very best
Mhm.
in
Yes.
him particularly. I
Yes.
don't have to, my mothering doesn't have to look like everybody else's. It
Mhm.
don't even have to look like my
Mhm.
mama's. I
Mm.
have to figure out how to mother him the way that would best nurture who he is. And that is something that I'm still learning. But I feel a lot more comfortable
Mhm.
at this particular point in learning, now that I've gotten out of my way, that I can't ever, mess up. I can't ever, make him feel upset. Now he get upset, I'm like, it's cool. Go ahead and take your time. You need your moment in your room. Cool.
Mhm.
We we good. He'll come back and say, all right, Mom Ashley, I'm not, I'm
Right.
good now. Okay, cool. Like we back now. Uh, so, really just having to move through those huddles. And I think that, Frank does a good job at letting me move through those huddles without feeling like he has to come in and coddle me, because my feelings be so hurt, girl.
Mm.
Like, oh my goodness, I made
Yeah.
him upset. Frank was like, oh, yeah.
And I think that speaks to, again, like there's so much to manage emotionally and mentally in this process. Because I could imagine, my feelings would be hurt too. I'm a very sensitive person,
Me
and I
too.
could just totally imagine I would be like, he don't like me. This not gonna work. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it.
Yes. And at one point it was like that every 2 hours. And Frank was
Yeah.
Frank was sick of me because I mean I'm upstairs like really trying to get myself together because my feelings are hurt. And he's like, girl,
Yeah.
you're gonna be all right.
And I think that, again, that also speaks to the fact that, like, I think there's a special level of grace that we have to have for bonus mamas, because y'all really have to go through a process of like really, it's like on the job training right then and there. That is just a little bit different for others of us. Like, I think we're a little bit more compassionate, let's say, for a mama who has like gone, had the baby, brought the baby home, everything's so new. We can like visibly see, okay, this is new for her. And, it's going to be a process. But for you all, I think we could do a better job of giving y'all some grace and being more compassionate, because this is completely new for you. And you're having to juggle and manage your emotions and the
Yes.
expectations. And like you said,
Yes.
I could totally imagine that when you started on this motherhood journey, you did feel like you have to do everything perfect, because it's probably also a lot of pressure to know that your partner has been a parent for so long and
Yes.
this is completely new for you. So it
Right.
almost makes you feel like you have to live up to, all of his experience and his expectations. And it
Exactly.
just feels like a lot.
It is a lot. And I think I would say, even to your point about, the support that's given to mothers who go through the pregnancy process. I mean, and I have wonderful friends. So this is not me, trying to be whatever about any of the support, but the support is different. You see the support that a mother who is pregnant gets, and, the check-in, how are you feeling, and they should get that support. But very few people and very few times have checked on me since March to say, hey, Ash, like, how's the motherhood journey going? To which I would be very honest, but I also don't feel like putting that burden on to them either, which is why, again, I was so grateful for the group, because you guys are supposed to listen to me about this. So, whatever. And then even still being able to communicate with those mamas after the group. We have a WhatsApp group. And so there have been days where I've been just like, you know what, I'm going to text the girls in the group and see how they're doing. And even though I might say something that's appropriate for a 9-year-old and they might say something that's appropriate for a 1 or 2-year-old, there's still that, like, we hear you. How can we best support you? And I mean, to this day, they are very much still like that. And I'm just so grateful. So I do agree. I think that we conceptualize, motherhood differently for people. And I think the support should at least be on some type of level playing field, because it is different, and it can be a difficult journey for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Absolutely. And again, I'm so happy that I'm talking to you about this, because it's even helping me think about how can I offer a different level of support for the bonus mamas who do participate in the Empower Wellness program or any other thing that we do at Balance Working Mama, because I want y'all to feel supported. And so I have a few more questions. And so again, I feel like some of my questions overlap today, but one thing that I really wanted to think about with you is, what do you feel like? Okay, I'm gonna merge these two questions in one because I think there's tons of overlap. I was gonna ask you, what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned so far in your motherhood journey? But I also want to know, how do you think you've grown the most? And so I feel like the lesson probably is going to have something to do with maybe how you're growing or how you've seen yourself grow. So, biggest lesson, and or how have you grown the most so far in this journey?
I think, as far as growth is concerned, really learning to give myself grace, because I have needed to really step up modeling what I want for Romel. So even with emotional regulation, I do a lot of talking about mental wellness, and I have a counseling degree. But when I'm upset, I stonewall. I completely shut down. I need to go off to myself
Yep.
and get myself together. And in motherhood, you don't always have, you very rarely actually have the time or the space to do that.
Mhm.
And so when things happen in real time, I'm I've had to really challenge myself to be better about dealing with what upsets me, because
Mhm.
I don't just want to preach to him about, emotional regulation and working through things. I want to be able to, for him to be able to point to me and say, I see that from her.
Right.
And so even helping him talk through when he gets upset about things, it is a constant reminder to me that this is what I need to be doing this as well.
Mhm.
And so from July, or even before July, when I would, just get so in my own way about things specifically regarding parenting, to now,
Mhm.
I'm in a much better position to kind of work through it in that moment. Now, if I need to, sort it out after that moment, cool.
Mhm.
But I'm less likely to just like go off to myself, because I can't do it in that moment. I really need to still tend to him and what he needs, or him in this virtual learning, which
Oh,
is
girl. Ooh. Let me just say, I commend you people, you parents with school agers, because, honey, I'm not ready. I'm so glad my son is only 16 months, because I don't know how I would have done the virtual learning.
I'm just praying. I know that it is a safety thing. I recognize it for what it is. Oh, but I'll be glad when they can go back.
Girl.
I mean, literally going from, and this is with two of us in the house, going from meeting to, making sure that he's online to, the classroom Zoom links are changing still constantly in the 4th week class. And, you just, and then motivating, because this virtual learning is hard for the students as well. And so, motivating, trying to find motivation for him so that he can, at least try to still engage in some way
Mhm.
outside of, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
It's
And
been a
I'm,
lot.
I'm just so grateful that you have such a big support from your partner. And I
Absolutely.
know that you and your family are close. But I know that doesn't really take away from the fact that it's hard. Like, y'all are doing some tough work over there. For real.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm grateful that, I mean, that was one of the things that I consistently rated high on my
Mhm.
assessment, about having those external support systems, between, like I said, my partner, my parents, his mom, Frank's mom, my partner's mom, very just super duper supportive. And so I was talking to my friend Patrice the other night, and I said, just because I have that support system doesn't mean that I want to lean on that support system all the time. My parents are retired. Frank's mom is retired. We're in here in the trenches trying to do work. I'm grateful to be supported, but you know, don't want to just completely just be like, oh, we got a support system. It's like that meme where you tossing the baby in the air like basketball. That's my friend Barbara's favorite meme, and I die every time she puts it in the group chat. But the other thing is, support is great, but there are some things that you just have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
just have to, and
Yeah.
that's just with anything, right? We can have support all day long. Nobody can feel my feelings for me.
Mm-hmm.
No one can be the mom that I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if I don't lean into what it is that I want to do, the
Mm-hmm.
feelings that I'm feeling, and really dig in to do the work so that I can continuously grow,
Mm-hmm.
I can have all the support in the world and still be a failure
Yeah.
by my standards, or by either other people's standards, by Romel's standards, because nobody else can do that work for me. And so that's what I have to remind myself.
Mm.
Like, sometimes you just have to go through.
Yeah.
Pardon me, I'm a pastor's daughter, so sometimes I get a little preachy, but sometimes you just gotta go through. Sometimes you just can't go around. You gotta go through.
Yep. You have to.
Got to.
You have to. And I think, I just, in the question of like how you've grown, I've seen you grow so much in the short time that I've known you. And just hearing you speak about this, I'm like, damn, is this the same Ashley I met in July? What is going on? This is great.
Listen,
So,
that first call was a struggle. You were like, "Man, get in the class. I mean, get in the group. Let's go. Give me this $55 so we can get going now." Yeah, I was a mess. I was all over the place.
but you've grown so much. And I just was thinking about this. Like, I hope that we stay connected. I'm gonna force it. We're gonna stay connected because I just
Absolutely.
can't wait until like 10 years from now, Romel is just talking about, my mom is the best mom. She really showed up for us. She really, was in that role, me and her. There was some moments when we had to, work it through, but she really, really showed up and she is amazing. Like, I completely see that for you. Like, and I hope that you feel that you are absolutely walking in your motherhood journey for real. Like, you've
Thank
completely
you.
taken it on. And I know it's been rocky and it's still new,
Hmm.
but you are doing it. And I'm so proud of you because I see the growth. And
Thank you.
I just see a new level of confidence when you talk about it. And
Hmm.
that excites me too.
Yeah, thank you for not letting me go. I wasn't planning to go anywhere actually.
Oh, no, you can't.
So,
And then, just wait. When the world opens back up again, don't forget we live in
yes,
the same place. So
that's right. So
we
we
gonna
could
see each other.
just, that's it. But no, I'm truly grateful, and I do see and recognize the growth in myself as well. And I'm just really grateful even for like the things that I didn't think were even connected to helping me, like getting a bedtime routine, which I'm still trying to work through. But what I've noticed is that, even working on it has helped. I don't feel as tired, so really prioritizing my wellness so that I can be not just I can be well for myself, but I can also be well for the roles that I have to play. So really grateful for you and really grateful for the program.
Well, I thank you for that. So one more question for you. What are some words of wisdom or words of encouragement or advice that you have for other bonus mamas that might be listening in their, whether they're new in their motherhood journey or, walking in it, whatever it is, what words of advice, encouragement do you have for them?
I would just say, one, always try to find grace for yourself, even if you have just completely did a huge faux pas. Really find ways to keep yourself encouraged, affirmations, um, support. Really tap into a support system. If you have natural support systems, that's even better. But sometimes you have to search it out, and I believe that the Balanced Empowerment Wellness Group really is a support system specifically for this role. The other thing I would say is, don't feel like you need to be ready made.
Mm.
Um, it is a process.
Mhm.
It's a process for people who biologically have children. It just looks different, so it's going to be a process. If the child or children, they're not as receptive to you as at first, or it just seems like things aren't going, it is a process. So however fast or however slow things come together, you do the work so that you can trust that things will come together, but they won't come together unless you work to get them together. So just keep trucking. And I'm here as a listening ear, support, whatever, for anybody that wants to reach out. Girl, we'll be working together. We'll be on the phone crying and cussing together. Y'all didn't hear my Christian friends. I don't cuss. Maybe a little bit. I'm a little bit like Peter. Little tiny bit. When I get upset, and then I go and pray and ask the Lord to forgive me.
And then it's okay. It's okay, girl, because I cuss enough for all of us. So
Sometimes it got to be said. Just got to be said.
well, Ashley, this was so good. And I know that there's somebody that's listening and feels more encouraged, more empowered because of you. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And if there is a mama who wants to connect with you, how can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. You can follow me on Instagram at aburton214. That's ABURTON 214, or at Mastering My Matters. you can send me a DM there, or you can email me at speakashleyb@gmail.com.
Okay, cool. I will make sure all of that is in the show notes. But again, thank you so much, Ashley. This has been a pleasure, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Dr. Amber.
Hey mama, Balanced Working Mama is growing. I want to make sure that you stay connected and up to date with everything happening over here. So you don't miss any of the good stuff, head over to balancedworkingmama.com, sign up for the newsletter. You'll always be the first to learn of any new podcast episodes, events, programs, and you'll get a hello from me every now and then. So sign up today, mama, because I want to connect with you soon. Hey mamas, I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Ashley. It was so good. I'm so grateful for her and thankful that she shared her experience of bonus motherhood. And so the Balanced Working Mama homework for today is twofold, because I realize that many of us who are listening might not be bonus mamas, but there are some of you who are. And so if you are a bonus mama, I really want you to think about how can you today have a little bit more compassion for yourself, and or what are some of the things that stood out in Ashley's experience that might resonate for you, whether it is, you giving yourself a little bit more grace for the fact that this is transition, or, giving yourself a little bit more compassion for managing emotions and all the things that you have to manage as a bonus mama, and or have you realized that maybe you don't have the community or supports in motherhood that you would like to have. And so as a bonus mama, I really want you to think about what are some ways that you can have more compassion for yourself, give yourself some grace, really start to tap into some of those motherhood communities, because you need community just like the rest of us do. And so I want that for you. And I'm hoping that Balanced Working Mama will continue to be a place and a space for bonus mamas to get the support that they need. But I also really want you to work on seeking that out. So that's the homework for the bonus mamas. But for those of you who are not bonus mamas, you likely know someone who is a bonus mama. And I know for me, listening to Ashley talk was so eye-opening, because there's just so many things that were in her experience that I don't necessarily think about, or I haven't had that experience. So it's good to hear someone else say it. And so what it really challenged me to do was thinking about, for the bonus mamas that I do know, how can I show up for them in different ways? How can I offer a different level of support? How can I be a little bit more compassionate? If I know a mama who is new in her bonus motherhood, how can I make sure that I'm checking in with her just like I would for my friends who just had a baby? Because this is still a new experience for her, a transition period, and we don't always see it. I want my bonus mamas to get the support that they need. So for those of you who are not bonus mamas, but you know one, really think about, how can I extend a different level of support so that that bonus mama does feel supported and can feel encouraged and empowered by you. So that is the homework for today. Let me know how it goes for you all. Y'all know where to find me. DM me, email me, message me, and hope you enjoyed all of the good stuff we talked about today. Hey mama, thank you for listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast. If you love this podcast, please be sure to rate it and share it with another mama that you know. And don't forget to follow me and Balanced Working Mama on Instagram. I'll talk to you soon.